Welcome to Satsang. A very happy International Meditation Day to everyone. A very happy winter solstice to everyone. It's such a sacred time of going in. The days get shorter and darker, reminding us that inward pull is not just into your bed and into your comforter and into a cup of hot chocolate, but that it's actually a pull deep into the self. So, welcome to all of you. And, I don't have a paper today. Okay, do we not have paper today? Okay. Rohan, do we have our paper today? Okay. We start satsang always with a question that's come in from our family joining us from all over the world through this wonderful gift of technology on a variety of different social media platforms, websites, etc. And they send in questions in advance, which we may or may not have tonight. I don't think I'm sitting on it. No, it's not here. That's okay, no problem. No problem, sweetie. Why don't you just share one of the questions that's come in, and then we open it up for any question that anyone here might have. There's a microphone right there in the center. So do not be shy. Come to the mic, share your name, share where you're from, and share your question. But first, Rohan will give us one that's come in from our family joining online.
Dear Sadhviji, Namaste. First of all, I'd like to express my gratitude for all the beautiful answers you give through your daily satsangs on YouTube. I always try to be nice and kind to people. I show respect and compassion, and I truly believe in the physically and psychologically. However, I often find myself being mistreated, taken for granted, or taken advantage of. I have left several friendships because of this. I never really confronted people because I don't want to hurt anyone, and I just leave. After, of course, giving many chances. Afterwards, I struggle with guilt and wonder why I should have stayed. My main question is, how do we set boundaries without hurting anyone? And is setting boundaries something that comes from ego consciousness? Or should we tolerate situations silently and work through them internally? With gratitude and love, Navya.
Wonderful. So, raise your hand if you can easily remember a time in which you felt like you were coming at a situation or a relationship with love, with presence, with generosity, with honesty, with compassion, and yet what you were receiving was impatience, lack of compassion, lack of niceness, obnoxiousness. Raise your hand if you can remember a situation like that. Raise them high, just so that everybody can, okay. Keep them up for a moment. Look around. Okay, put them down. Here's what I love. And we'll get into the actual answer in a moment. But here's what I love about that particular situation. We all have within us this internal sense, most of the time, not all the time for those of us who are deeply honest, but most of the time, a sense that how we are being is nice. Okay, we may not be like the best person in the world, but that basically how we're being is nice, it's compassionate, it's peaceful, it's helpful, it's generous. And how the other person is being is problematic. And that's how most of us feel in most circumstances. It's very rare for us to feel like, oh God, I'm really the problem here. It's not the other person, it's me. Most of us have realized that a couple of times in our lives, but in almost all of the circumstances, it feels like, hey, I'm doing my best here. I'm being so nice, so kind, but this other person or these other people are not. Now, I'll give you a fun statistic that seems like it doesn't have anything to do with this, but it actually has a lot to do with this. Something like over 80%, I can't remember the exact number now, but something like over 80% of people think that they are above average intelligence. Okay? I think it's like 85, 87, something like that, some high in the 80s percentage. Now, by mathematical rule, only 50% of people can be above average intelligence. For it to be average, 50% have to be below it, or the word average doesn't work. But almost 90% of people self-judge as above average intelligence. A similar number of people judge themselves as a fantastic driver. Now, in India, most people have drivers, so this doesn't pertain as much as in the West where everybody drives themselves. But whenever something happens on the road, it's always the other guy's fault. I mean, nobody ever says, oh God, how could I switch lanes so unconsciously? Oh, how could I take that turn without paying attention? It's always, oh, the idiot, doesn't anybody know how to drive around here? Okay, so human nature, whether looking at our driving skills, our intelligence, or our way of being in the world, we self-judge at a much, much higher level than even mathematically is possible. And this is a really important thing to just remember about life. That in general, how nice, how kind, how peaceful, how generous, how helpful you think you are might, just might, be seen slightly differently by the people around you. And it doesn't mean that you're not being nice and generous and helpful. It just means that in their eyes, however the situation is going, they may have a completely different view of it. And it's what makes life interesting. It's what keeps lawyers and judges in jobs, right? People come into court, everybody says, I'm right. The other guy's wrong, I'm right. So it keeps lots of people employed. But it's really important to realize on both spiritual and emotional and relationship levels. A lot of us set boundaries in places where a bit of humbleness actually could suit us better. Now, I'm all in favor of boundaries. I'm all in favor of not being a doormat. But I've spent many, 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 many years working with people. And what I've seen is that, yes, of course, there absolutely are situations in which someone is really being taken advantage of, walked all over, manipulated, mistreated. There's absolutely situations where a setting of boundaries, compassionately but strongly, is of critical importance. However, there's also a lot of situations, more and more as time goes by, because setting boundaries has become a new kind of buzzword, a skill, something lots of people are talking about, reading books on, learning how to do. And what I'm finding a lot of the times is that there's so many opportunities that we have. We're simply looking at ourselves and how we might be contributing to a difficult situation is actually more beneficial than erecting boundaries between ourselves and the others in that situation. So, first thing I would suggest is, number one, really be honest. Long before you think about a boundary, really be honest. Is this really all about them? And sometimes it absolutely is. There are people in the world, especially those with alcohol addictions, drug addictions, personality issues. There's all sorts of people in the world who absolutely are master manipulators, master advantage takers, master abusers, physical, emotional, sexual, mental. And if you're in a situation of that, absolutely boundaries need to be set, strong ones. But really check within. Is this a situation where really what I need to do is protect myself from this person? Or is this a situation where actually my ego, my stubbornness, might be contributing to the problem that we're having? I cannot tell you the number of situations where I hear this side and I hear this side, and you think, oh my God, these tiny little nothing things, but everybody's up in arms about how I'm being treated and how this one is speaking and this, and I need to have boundaries and I need this. And you think, my God, if we just could all exhale and just could all take responsibility for ourselves, it would make all the difference in the world. There's a beautiful story of a sadhu who's taking a bath in the river. And as he's bathing, he notices a scorpion drowning in the water. And he reaches to pick up the scorpion that's drowning and to put it onto the land. But of course, as he picks it up, what does the scorpion do? It stings him. And as the scorpion stings him, he flings his arm in pain, and the scorpion falls into the water. Starts to drown again. Again, he starts to pick it up. Again, the scorpion stings him. Again, he flings his hand, and the scorpion falls. And this cycle continues several times, and the man on the shore watching says, hey, Baba, let him drown. He's always going to sting you. Just let him drown. What are you doing? And the sadhu says, yeah, of course, he stings because to sting is his dharma, but to save is my dharma. And if he's not leaving his dharma for me, why should I leave my dharma for him? Now, I would not give advice of going to the extent where you're actually getting stung by a scorpion. But the teaching is very important. If who I strive to be is peaceful, compassionate, embracing understanding, then no matter how someone else is with me, I should never lose that. I should never allow someone else's ignorance, ego, rudeness, obnoxiousness, fear, instability, ignorance, addiction, whatever it may be. Pull me out of my dharma and force me to act or speak in ways that I either later feel awful about, or I find myself having to justify to myself with like, well, he started it, right? So in the times that you do have to set boundaries, make sure that you set them still within dharma, with love, with compassion, with patience. Boundaries don't have to have barbed wire on the outside. They don't have to be electrical that actually shock anyone who comes near you, or in which somebody gets hurt trying to break through the boundary. They just have to be strong enough to protect us energetically. And in many ways, a simple refusal to engage is actually the best boundary. A simple refusal to be caught up in someone else's emotional drama is sometimes enough. When I was in 7th grade, there was a guy in our class who, you're 12, 13, 14, kids are not at their best by any means. And this was a boy who was otherwise a really good kid. I had known him since 4th grade, but he had become a bit of a bully. His parents were in the middle of a divorce, and he had become really, really hurtful and mean. And when you're 12 or 13, somebody being mean, it really stings because it's all about friends. And when he would say something really awful, not only would it hurt you, but then people would laugh and you'd feel awful. And I remember going home crying and telling my parents, like, oh, he did this to me again today, he said that to me again today. And, you want to just punch him and show him, and my mom said, look, his parents are getting divorced. He's going through such a hard time. He's miserable. He's just sharing that misery with other people. She said, ignore him as best as you can, but try to just have compassion. And of course, the next time he was obnoxious to me, I stood up in the middle of class. I was not so evolved. I stood up in the middle of class and I said, I am so sorry that you are going through a very difficult time in your life, but it would be so nice if you could stop taking it out on the rest of us. Now, not the highest moment of my life in terms of compassion and caring and patience, but it was boundary setting to the best that I could muster as a 12 or 13-year-old. But I mention it because boundaries are that where we refuse to engage. We refuse to be manipulated. Okay, you're going to be mean. I'm not going to let you hurt me anymore. You're going to be manipulative. You're going to try to walk all over me. You're going to try to get me to do things that I don't want to do. I'm not going to let you do that anymore. I could have been a lot softer. I could have been a lot gentler. I could have been a lot more compassionate. And by God's grace, as the decades of my life have gone on, I've learned to be a bit softer and more compassionate. But the teaching of the boundary is not, I won't speak to you, I won't look at you, I won't have you in my life. It's just, I'm not going to let my internal emotional state, or my time, or my attention, or my energy be dictated by your current ego, emotional, mental situation. And we all need to do that. But we don't want to cut ourselves off from each other. And that's where things get in trouble, is when we use the concept of boundary setting as an excuse to cut ourselves off, to ghost someone, to ignore someone, to be rude to someone, to turn our backs when someone is approaching. That doesn't serve anybody. Doesn't serve our growth or our path, and it doesn't serve others. So remember the sadhu in the river. You don't want to go all the way as far as getting stung, but you also don't want to let anyone else pull you off your dharma. So always ask, is there a way that I could be more humble here? I could be more aware here. I could be more present. And then we establish an energetic boundary. That's not a wall, but the energetic boundary comes from my grounding, my anchoring, that keeps me safe. It keeps me safe from whatever energetically you might be, intentionally or unintentionally, dumping all over me. Yeah, great question. Other questions? Yes, Ritesh.
Jai Shri Krishna Sadhviji, I'm Ritesh from London. My question is actually related to a personal moment. So I'm getting married next year. And in that journey, the question I have is, when your partner says, give me attention, how do you balance that in life of friends, family, work, society? What is the key or the formula?
Beautiful. There's a beautiful song poem that Pujya Swamiji wrote, to God, of course, but it says, Mere orto bidyando. Please pay attention to me. Please, mere orto bidyande. Like, look at me every once in a while. Pay some attention over here. There is a yearning of all of us, a soul yearning to be seen. From developmental psychology of kids, what we know is one of the very best ways to completely mess up the mental, emotional, psychological, and even physical health of your child. Like, if you really want to ruin their lives, don't look at them. Don't make eye contact with them. That eye contact is critical. There's tons of studies on the impact of children, even babies, if the mother stops looking at them. And it's really interesting. You notice within 30, 45 seconds, it's not years. You can Google these videos. It's all about attachment studies. The mom is looking at the baby. Then suddenly the mom looks away. And these were all done before mobile phones came into existence. But it's really interesting. The mother looks away. And the baby will make an attempted connection. First, it'll be cute. It'll gurgle, it'll giggle, it'll blah, 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 blah. And if the mother still doesn't pay attention, and again, I'm talking 15 seconds, not minutes, not hours, not days, it very quickly shifts into panic. 30, 45 seconds, and that kid is wailing. But then something very interesting happens also. It withdraws. It gives up. We go from, I deserve your attention, look how cute I am, to, why are you not paying attention to me? This is unfair. I need it. The panic, the crying, the yelling, to basically, my life is over. I am ineffective. I am unlovable, I am unworthy. And these are infants. And a total shut down in like less than 60 seconds. We need, as human beings, like we need air, like we need water, like we need food, we need to be seen. So it's important to understand that that concept of attention is something that is a primal need. Now, depending on the amount, the quantity, and the quality of attention that we get in our early childhood, we continue to need more or less of it as our lives go on. And the tragedy is that, particularly when you have parents who are busy, maybe both parents are working, maybe one parent is working, but the other parent has a lot of other responsibilities at home. These days with mobile phones and being totally distracted, we're not getting the attention that we need as kids. And so we're seeing all kinds of emotional, psychological, mental, behavioral problems later in life, okay? That's the foundation of just understanding that when someone says, pay attention to me, they're not being silly, they're not being selfish. It's not just like she has this thing. It's like saying, hey, I'm dying of starvation over here. Could I get some food? It's of that criticalness, and it feels like that inside. What's interesting, though, is it's not actually quantity so much as quality that we need when we are older. So what I would suggest in a relationship that's about to become a marriage, is, at least in the beginning, make the marriage your priority. It's like when you have a baby, you may have been doing the best work in the world for some period of time. It doesn't have to be all 18 years, but for some period of time, make that baby the priority. This is a brand new relationship. It's a brand new thing. Make that the priority. Again, not forever. What'll happen is a level of stability will emerge. It's like, when you first build a house, and it takes, or a building of any kind, and it takes lots and lots of time to plan the electrical structure and the wiring and the laying of wires and the establishment of all of it and where are the plug points. Lots of time and energy. But once that's done, all you have to do is plug something in and turn on a switch and you've got electricity. The early days of a marriage are laying those electrical lines. It's creating that flow. Once that's established, once it's, oh yeah, I know I'm your priority. I know you adore me. And I know that the moment that I actually need that attention, you're right there. Then we stop needing it all the time. Because we all have lives, we all have things to do. The neediness only emerges when I feel like there is a shortage. If I'm in, a house full of food, the fridge is full, the cupboards are full, the table is full, and I've got abundant financial resources, I don't need to stuff myself so much in one meal. But when you see situations where, for example, relief food comes into people who are very poor, who are in relief camps, refugee camps, who don't have, watch how much they eat. Watch, we do these free bandharas frequently in a lot of different places, in slum areas and here on the banks of Ganga, of course. And I am constantly amazed at the sheer volume of food that a kid this size can put away. But you realize it's not just, oh, it's a growing child. It's that kid doesn't know when they're going to get another meal. That may be the first time they've seen vegetables in a week. And so, yeah, they're going to keep eating. In the same way, if it feels like you have a shortage of attention, then yeah, she's going to want to gobble it all up. Because then, oh my God, you're going to do this, and you're going to do this, and you're going to go there, and you're going to pay attention to those people. So yeah, let me just gobble it all up now. But if it's clear that there's no shortage, because she knows she's your priority, then there's no need to gobble it up all the time. And it's interesting, by the way, the body, this is why on a separate but related subject, it's why even our physical bodies, it's not just our emotional state, it's actually our physical bodies. It's why yo-yo dieting doesn't work, right? I mean, everybody knows that. You crash diet, and then the moment you start to eat, you gain it all back again. Why? Because when the body starts to think that there is a shortage of calories, the moment it gets some, not only does it gobble up as much actual food as it can, but it stores it all as fat. Because it thinks, I have no idea when I'm getting any more food again. I'm not going to use this for energy. I'm going to store all of this. I'm not going to metabolize anything. And it's why people end up on these yo-yo diets. So even our bodies, as a survival instinct, hold on when something seems to be in short supply. So just make sure that your attention is never in short supply, that it never seems like there may be an upcoming shortage. And make sure that the quality is there. You know, these days we theoretically are with someone, but we're scrolling our phones. We're sitting in their presence, they're talking to us. And we're like this, we're like that, we're scrolling something. Looking at something, some notification comes, some beep, some buzz, some light, some something. And it's hard not to feel like, really? I'm so unimportant to you that some random notification came? Like some random person posted some random thing on some random social media page, and that's enough to pull your attention away? Of course we're insecure. We're creating insecurity in our children and our loved ones. Because the message that we give them is, you're only interesting until some random thing that may not even be somebody I know pops up on this device. So make sure that you have quality time, separate from devices. Start from the beginning of your marriage. Have niyams, have rules, like no phones in the bedroom. Certainly no phones in the bed. And I would say definitely no phones in the bedroom. You don't want a third being in your bed until you've got a baby. All right? That should be the only time that a third presence is permitted in the bedroom. No phones, no other people, nothing, no notifications, no nothing. You can have it nearby should there be some emergency phone call so you can hear it. No phones at the dinner table. Just set aside time. And then what you're going to find is you have all the time that you need to do everything that your heart wants to do. And lastly, because so much of what you want to do, because I know you, is seva. It's not about like, oh, my company, my business. It's seva. It's wonderful things for the community. Do it together. Do it together. Find seva activities you can do together. Serve food together. Plant trees together. Do all kinds of beautiful seva together. So that you're together and the seva is happening. Wonderful. And congratulations. Anybody want to come? By the way, their wedding is here on March 7th. So I'm inviting everybody on your behalf, okay? Wedding, Indian wedding, open to everybody. Yes, come.
Namaste. Nice to see you again. My name is Isis, and I'm from San Francisco. And I have many questions, but I will start with one. I would love to hear your perspective on where is the balance between free will, karma, and destiny. Thank you.
Sure. It's a wonderful question. It's a perennial question. Because these are the things that affect us and confuse us. Okay. First of all, just to allay any doubts, yes, we have free will, 100%. And yes, the law of karma is fully active. Where we are right now, in this minute, in this moment, in this breath, you can call that our destiny. It has been created by lifetimes of karma that we've done. Karma means action. Lifetimes of karma we've done, and the karmic repercussions. Karmic repercussions leading, therefore, to the families we were born into, the experiences we had, the way that our brains were formed, the sanskaras, the values, the ethics, the priorities, all of that. You can consider that your destiny, meaning it is the sum total of everything that has happened prior to this moment. It cannot be changed. When I was a kid, there was a TV show called Bewitched, and there was a little girl named Tabitha, and she could rub her nose like this and suddenly be someplace else or make magic things happen. And we don't have that. You can't rub your nose like this and be someplace else in this moment, or be somebody different, or be in a different circumstance or a different situation or a different relationship. Right here, right now, this breath, this is our destiny. And in this moment, we have total free will. We have inclinations. We have predispositions. We have personalities. We have triggers. We have habits. We have lots of things that make it very likely that we're going to act in certain ways. But we also could act in different ways. We have total free will. It is why spiritual teachers of every religion for thousands and thousands of years, like since we have spiritual teaching, scripture, tell us, meditate, pray. I mean, every religion has different words for it, but basically it's purify your mind, purify your heart, choose the right actions, be in the right way. Why? Because it's going to change your future. It's going to change your destiny. This minute, this moment, what I do with it is a choice that I make out of total free will. And it is a choice that leads to where I am tomorrow, and next week, and next month, and next year. So destiny takes me up to here. And right here, my free will is entirely in my hands. And based on how I use that, based on my karma, my actions, so is my destiny created for the future. A beautiful, easy way to think about it is, think about a cow. You say, okay, let's say that your destiny right here, right now, is to have a cow. It has just landed in your lap. Cannot change it. Cannot rewind history, cannot exchange it, cannot have a puppy dog instead. But from that cow, we get milk. Now, assuming that the cow is treated like a member of your family and is never harmed and never, like the cow is literally just loved up its whole life and given beautiful organic food, roaming in the pastures, well then the milk that comes from that cow is nectar. We can use it to make yogurt, to make cheese, to make all kinds of things that make us healthy. But we also get manure from the cow. And manure is wonderful as an organic fertilizer. Put it in the field, stick some neem leaves in there, and you have a perfect organic fertilizer. But if I eat the manure and dump the milk in the field, I'm going to be sick and my crops are going to die. But a lot of us are too quick to say, oh, well, I guess it was my destiny to be sick. Oh, I guess it wasn't in my stars to have a good harvest. We say, well, to mera bhagya mein nahi tha. Wasn't in my destiny. But a lot of that actually simply comes from unskilled action. I have the cow. I can't change the cow. But I have total free will over what I do with the white stuff, what I do with the brown stuff. And if I don't know what to do, as happens so frequently in life, it's why we have gurus, it's why we have teachers, it's why we have mentors, it's why we have scripture, it's why we have meditation. To figure it out. So that's how these three things weave in together. Accept the moment, it is your destiny. But use your free will to engage in action that is going to create the future destiny that you want. Not only for yourself, but for the world. Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Have a beautiful rest of your evenings. I know there's many more questions we didn't get to, but we will take them tomorrow night. We got a bit of a late start this evening from our slightly extended Ganga Arti with meditation day, and our meditation was beautiful, but we just want to make sure to let people off in time to go and have dinner before it gets too late, and I know some people are traveling. So we'll take the rest of the questions tomorrow, and a beautiful morning and day to our family joining us from all over the world online. And I look so forward to seeing you tomorrow. And so, so much love to you all.
Thank you so much, Pujya Sadhviji, for your beautiful wisdom tonight. We'd love for you to all stay connected. Every night we live stream Satsang on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can find it by searching at Sadhviji. You can also ask your questions online, or we have some paper at the back where you can write your questions down and Sadhviji will answer in an upcoming Satsang. We also have some little cards at the back with the contact information on, and the website and the social media handles, so you can follow us online. We have a weekly podcast called Ask Sadhviji that's available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It's a collection of satsang teachings like tonight and meditations as well. And yes, thank you so much for joining, and big, big gratitude to Sadhviji.